Morning, everyone. Welcome to our new normal class. I am lovely Mi Gregorio Tandoy, and I am your English teacher for this school year. So, these are our objectives for today's lesson. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to A. Define African literature and oral tradition, and determine the influences of oral traditions on African literature. A note on African literature. African literature is rich in oral traditions. What is oral tradition? Oral traditions are messages passed down through speech or song and may take the form of folk tales and fables, epic histories and narrations, proverbs or sayings and songs. So let us define folk tales, fables, epic histories, narrations, proverbs, and songs. So when we say folktale, it is a story originating in popular culture, typically passed on by word of mouth. Then we have fable. It is a short story that usually is about animals and that is intended to teach a lesson. Epic. It is a long poem that tells the story of a hero's adventure. Histories. So it is very understandable that history is the study of past events, or these are the events that happens in the past. Then we have narration. Narration is the process of telling a story or describing what happens in a detailed manner. Proverbs or sayings. It is a brief popular saying that gives advice about how people should live or that expresses a belief that is generally thought to be true. And songs, it is a short piece of music with words that are sung. So oral traditions help people make sense of the world, teach children and adults about important aspects of their culture, and guide social and human morals, giving people a sense of place and purpose. So, oral tradition plays a vital role in the African literature because it makes it possible for society to pass knowledge across generations without writing. Oral traditions have a strong influence on modern African literature. The most successful African writers know what to do with oral tradition and understand how its structures and images can be transformed to a literary mode. They place their literary works into the forms of oral tradition. African writers were very particular with their oral tradition, including its structure that they even included in some of their literary pieces. So mostly the African literature revolves around their oral traditions. Some of the first African writings to gain attention in the West were slave narratives, which described vividly the horrors of slavery and the slave trade. As Africans became literate in their own languages, they often reacted against colonial repression in their writings. As Africans began demanding their independence, more African writers were published. They often shared the same themes: the clash between indigenous and colonial cultures, condemnation of European suppression, pride in the African past, and hope for the continent's independent future. So, slavery has historically been widespread in Africa. So, African literature before African struggles for independence, like their hearts scream for it. That explains why slavery and freedom is very prominent in their literary pieces. That's the end of our discussion for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at my cell phone number, which I have given to you previously. And you can also visit the Gait F e-learning site. Thank you very much and God bless.